This video will cover how to complete corrections. First of all, let's discuss what you can actually complete corrections for. There are four main things. The first is quizzes, second is tests, lab reports, and essays. Essays kind of falls under the lab reports category, and quizzes and tests fall under the same category. So I'm going to group these like that and like this, because quizzes and tests will be corrected the same way that lab reports and essays are corrected. So let's start with quizzes and tests. If you want to complete corrections for a quiz or a test, essentially you should keep in mind that your goal is to prove to me that you completely understand the concept. Prove you completely understand the concept. So, for instance, if it was a multiple choice question, I'm going to abbreviate that to MC. If it's a multiple choice question, you do not, N-O-T, just correct the multiple choice itself. So if the correct answer was A and you put B, you should not just say the correct answer is B and then the same statement that was included in the multiple choice answer. Instead, you should turn that multiple choice question into a short answer, S-A, short answer. Essentially what that means is, if the question was asking about Galileo, for instance, and what he was known for, you should not just include the one kind of sentence description from the matching or the multiple choice that best completes the sentence, right, that answers who Galileo was. You should actually go back to the book, go back to your notes, and give me an extra sentence or two. So your answer now becomes 2 to 3 sentences total describing who Galileo was and what he did. Again, you're trying to totally and completely prove to me that you get it, right? So a multiple choice becomes a short answer. So that's 2 to 3 sentences. If you are working on a short answer, it should become a longer answer, meaning that if you got the short answer completely incorrect, you need to fix the whole thing. You should include additional explanation from what you would include normally on the quiz. You should include background information. You should include all sorts of extra information, again, helping you to prove to me that you totally get it. Let's say it was a 2-part short answer. You got part A correct, but you got part B incorrect. You do not need to redo part A. If you got part A right, good, you're done. Move on to part B. With part B, however, you should again provide that background information and provide extra info so that you are proving to me that you completely and fully understand the concept. When we are talking about lab reports and essays, so I'm going to draw a little line here. If we're talking about lab reports and essays, you are going to take a look at the rubric, the graded rubric, right, and see where you lost points. Did you lose points on all of the questions? Did you lose points on questions 1, 4, and 5? Did you lose questions on your data? Where was it that you lost points? Once you've pinpointed that, right, you lost points on questions 1, 4, and 5. You should go back to questions 1, 4, and 5 and follow this same kind of rule. You should go in, and since you typed it, go back in and make changes based on my comments and the rubric. And you, again, want to add additional info and clarification. Once again, your goal is to prove to me that you understand the lab concept, that you know how to write a lab, etc. If you lost points on the data because you didn't take accurate data, in most cases you can't really correct that because you don't have the lab set up at home. So in those cases, you won't be able to get points back on the lab. the lab data itself. However, if it was on your averages or you messed up the graph or something like that, you can definitely go in and fix the graph, fix the averages. If you messed up the averages or something like that, there's no explanation that needs to happen with that. So you can fix data's averages and graphs. No explanation needs to happen there. If I see that those are corrected, then you're all set. Now, how do we turn in how to turn them in? So if you want to then turn in your corrections, I need the corrections on a separate piece of paper, and I need that stapled to the original with the rubric, if there was a rubric. If you had, if it was a lab or an essay and I gave you a rubric, you should include that with the original and the corrections. If it's a quiz or test, just include your corrections on a separate piece of paper as well as the original quiz or test. So here we have gone over how to do quiz corrections. Essentially, your goal that you should remember is you want to prove to me that you totally understand it. This should be a lot of work. This should not be easy. You can earn up to half of your points back. Right? So if you start out with a 50, you can earn back up to a 75. That's a lot of points back. But in order to earn those points back, you need to work hard and prove to me that you totally understand it now. So if it's a quiz or a test, a multiple choice question becomes a short answer. A short answer would become a longer answer, because remember, your goal is to prove it. Lab reports and essays, you're going to take a look at the rubric and my comments and then go back into the Word document and make edits based on that. Whether it's a quiz or a test or a lab report or an essay, you will then staple your corrections to the original and include the rubric if there was one, and then turn it all in together. Please let me know if you've got any more questions. Thank you.